still in the place where the Tomb of Wrath is located, seeing the Egyptian dogs who are proud of the tomb they occupy now, Anubis said that this time it would be easier to defeat Seo Joo-Heon. Because Anubis thought Seo Joo-Heon began to weaken because it was attacked by many people after becoming a fugitive. Set denied Anubis' words because what they were doing now looked like begging for protection from someone else's spear. Anubis did not accept because he thought that relics from ancient Egypt were colleagues who could be cooperated with, and he did not seem to mind receiving help from other relics. Because although it sounded pathetic, their position was much more pathetic. When the relic commander appeared earlier, Anubis and the other dogs ran away, because they were afraid of being caught working under Seo Joo-Heon. But because of the rumors that had spread, wherever they went for protection they were only stared at and belittled because they could not kill Seo Joo-Heon. Set was annoyed that the other relics were judging them. Set wanted to open Anubis' mind, because previously Seo Joo-Heon fought with the relic commander and he won the match, and with that they should not have to run. Anubis was silent hearing the facts conveyed by Set. Osiris regretted that since she ran away she couldn't watch TV shows at Seo Joo-Heon's house, while Set was eager to eat fried chicken at Seo Joo-Heon's house. Anubis, who heard that, became angry with them, because the two of them were talking about other things at a crucial time like this. Anubis could sniff the scent of Seo Joo-Heon, who was getting closer to them. Anubis intended to attack Seo Joo-Heon himself because he could not rely on Set and Osiris, who were still in that condition, because he thought that the current Seo Joo-Heon would not be that strong after several attacks. Shortly after that, Anubis could see Seo Joo-Heon at the end of his eyes. But Seo Joo-Heon looked fine now. He became doubtful why Seo Joo-Heon was not weakened, even though Anubis had previously helped the person who attacked Seo Joo-Heon with a relic so that Seo Joo-Heon could not connect with the crow. But now Seo Joo-Heon still has a connection with the crow. Anubis does not understand why the person who attacked Seo Joo-Heon did not have any impact. Set praised the above-average strength of Seo Joo-Heon. Anubis did not want to give up so easily, and he intended to attack Seo Joo-Heon himself and told Set and Osiris to stay here. After that, Anubis disappeared from the sight of Set and Osiris, but they didn't want to do anything now. Meanwhile, at Seo Joo-Heon's place he was seen smiling while looking at the sky in the tomb. Matthew asked why Seo Joo-Heon suddenly smiled when there was nothing there. Seo Joo-Heon returned to the topic they left earlier about the car. Seo Joo-Heon explained that he didn't steal this car because the American soldiers attacked them first. And to end the explanation, Seo Joo-Heon said that he had no other vehicle to come here other than by using this army car. Matthew apologized for what the other soldiers had done. Everything became chaotic when the Pentagon was in its current state, because there were some misunderstandings from the army officials and some even wanted to stop the excavation team. But Matthew said that they would be more cooperative with the excavation team later. Even the president wanted to have a discussion with a decent and capable team. Matthew suggested Seo Joo-Heon to follow him. Matthew asked Seo Joo-Heon to come with him and meet with the president. Seo Joo-Heon went to the place where his friends were. He explained that they would be introduced to the president. Yoo Ji-ha seemed amazed when he heard the word President of America. Because the relic they had in the Pentagon was consumed by the tomb, the soldiers and officials wanted to ask for help from other excavation teams. Although Seo Joo-Heon later knew they would go through a series of troublesome orders, but he felt that with this, they would get useful information. Seo Joo-Heon thought that he would not bring Lewis, because the Pentagon was in a chaotic situation like this. Bringing Lewis would only be an obstacle because Lewis would not be able to help them find the relic. Besides, bringing Lewis would only make the soldiers more suspicious of Seo Joo-Heon. Seo Joo-Heon gave the code to Yoo Ji-ha, who was captured by him. Yoo Ji-ha approached Lewis with a sinister look. But Seo Joo-Heon had no intention of killing Louis and told Yoo Ji-ha to put Louis into the Van Gogh. Yoo Ji-ha began to take out the Van Gogh, and slowly the body of Louis was sucked into the Van Gogh. After that, Seo Joo-Heon and his team moved back to the place where the president was, but after a while driving, someone blocked them on the road. The big men seemed to deliberately block the moving car. Matthew got out and asked for an explanation of why the people were blocking their way. Matthew explained that now they were going to meet the president, but the man said that the president had been transferred. The man was ordered beforehand to take Seo Joo-Heon and his team directly into the conference room. Seo Joo-Heon got off and asked what happened exactly. After seeing Seo Joo-Heon get out of his car, the black man introduced himself as a head guard, and he was the one who would guide Seo Joo-Heon from now on. But Matthew said that he didn't have orders to do that before. But Seo Joo-Heon didn't mind that because whoever guided him didn't matter to him because their goal was the same from the beginning. Matthew gave his identification card to Seo Joo-Heon. Matthew was very interested in being part of the excavation team and he wanted to work for Seo Joo-Heon once. Seo Joo-Heon accepted the card, but he would not give any more expectations in the future. Seo Joo-Heon told her friends to get out because they would be guided by a new person now. Seo didn't understand why they had to change the ration to guide like that because she didn't trust the new guide. Seo Joo-Heon smiled and considered the black person as a guide dog. Moments later, Seo Joo-Heon and his team had been guided into the tomb. Seo Joo-Heon suddenly jerked the man in front of him as if to say that the man in front of him was having trouble walking with both legs. The man looked surprised and smiled. Seo Joo-Heon then shouted angrily, calling the man a dog in disguise. Seo Joo-Heon sent a crushing blow towards the man, sending the man flying far back. Yoo Ji-ha looked surprised when Seo Joo-Heon suddenly attacked the man, and Yoo Ji-ha's surprise was answered when the man transformed into Anubis. Seo Joo-Heon has been looking for Anubis everywhere, but finally he found him hiding in someone else's tomb. Seo Joo-Heon clenched his fist ready to teach a lesson to Anubis who dared to escape from him. Seo Joo-Heon said he would teach Anubis a lesson now, but Anubis, who did not want to give up so easily, began to unleash his strength to attack Seo Joo-Heon. Seo Joo-Heon looked sharply at Anubis, who attacked him, after giving orders for his troops to attack Seo Joo-Heon. Seo Joo-Heon only smiled slightly, and he began to attack the skull with his hands alone. Anubis seemed a little worried to see Seo Joo-Heon, who easily defeated his soldiers. With that, Anubis continued to create his skull to attack Seo Joo-Heon. Anubis had a plan to distract Seo Joo-Heon before he made his ultimate attack. Suddenly, a blue light appeared from Yoo Ji-ha's pants pocket, and when he took out his Van Gogh relic, the relic vomited Louis from inside. Louis looked confused, but the voice of Anubis managed to make him dizzy. Heard Anubis, who spoke through telepathy, began to blame Louis, who could not kill Seo Joo-Heon. Louis defended himself if he did not have the opportunity to do that. Anubis also asked Louis to return the relic he had loaned earlier. Louis confessed honestly that the relic had been stolen by Yoo Ji-ha, and with that, Louis got angry from Anubis. While on the other hand, Yoo Ji-ha seemed to try to wake Louis, but a purple light was now shining from his back pocket, after which a relic managed to escape before Yoo Ji-ha could do anything. And it turned out that the relic was controlled by Anubis to break Seo Joo-Heon's relationship with the crow. Seo Joo-Heon, who realized it, still managed to avoid it well, but the panda relic seemed to want to take something out now. At that moment, a blinding light was created blocking Seo Joo-Heon's view. After the light disappeared, Seo Joo-Heon could see that the panda relic had changed its form. Seo Joo-Heon was upset to see the form of the panda relic now. several notification windows appeared and said that the relic had the power to temporarily seal the crow's aura. Seo Joo-Heon could even see that the notification window began to shake. Seo Joo-Heon saw a strange panda in front of him and he could not be hit by any attacks from the panda. Seo Joo-Heon began to take out another relic, and a fire monster appeared from behind his body and the fire monster was ordered to destroy them all. The fire monster and the panda relic along with the help of the Anubis skull army would face each other. The fire monster took the initiative to attack first and a huge explosion occurred as the attack hit something. Yoo-Ji-ha and others just watched the fight from afar. Seo intended to help Seo Joo-Heon and she asked Yoo-Ji-ha to stay here. Seo intended to use Gildal to attack them when her attention was distracted. Anubis was seen shouting loudly, forcing his soldiers to fight harder. Meanwhile, Gildal managed to sneak behind Anubis' body without her realizing it. When Anubis realized his attention was distracted, as he created the skull to withstand Gildal's attack that was heading directly towards him, Seo Joo-Heon smiled and praised the initiative taken by Seo by helping him. Seo would help Seo Joo-Heon fight with the skull soldiers and Seo Joo-Heon would face the strange panda and Anubis. Now that Seo Joo-Heon is face to face with the strange panda, several slashes and attacks are sent by Seo Joo-Heon to attack the strange panda, and as his sword successfully slashes through the panda's body, several cotton swabs appear from the resulting slash wounds. Not wanting to waste a chance, the fire monster was ready with its fire to attack the strange panda, and seeing the attack, the strange panda could only resign himself to his fate. A huge explosion occurred when the fire monster's attack successfully hit the panda, making Anubis turn his attention to the source of the explosion. The relic panda was in a damaged condition now. Slowly, Seo Joo-Heon walked towards Anubis, who was surrounded. Anubis did not want to admit that he was afraid of Seo Joo-Heon now. Anubis did not know what he would do next when he saw Seo Joo-Heon angry with him, and Anubis chose to run away from Seo Joo-Heon. Of course, Seo Joo-Heon didn't want to waste the opportunity. He told the rope relic to catch Anubis, and quickly the rope relic chased Anubis, even though Anubis tried to hold him using his skull. But easily the rope relic destroyed the skull created by Anubis and returned to chase him. Seeing the rope relic still chasing Anubis, Anubis did not want to be caught by the rope relic. His eyes began to look for a place where he could hide from the rope relic, and finally Anubis chose to hide in the women's toilet. But the rope relic easily broke down the door. The rope relic began to look for Anubis in all corners of the dirty toilet. After various places he searched and came to the rope relic, was unable to find Anubis, who was stuck to the ceiling of the toilet. Anubis only hoped that the rope relic would leave quickly because he could not hold his body anymore. And innocently relic rope looked up, and a silent moment was created when relic rope found Anubis attached to the ceiling of the toilet. Not waiting for a long time, relic rope began to approach to catch Anubis. After successfully tying his neck firmly, Anubis could only surrender to accept his fate. Seeing the rope relic that was still forcibly pulling Anubis towards Seo Joo-Heon, but when the rope relic arrived in front of Seo Joo-Heon, Anubis was almost out of breath. After giving the rope relic a compliment that pleased him, Seo Joo-Heon stared intently at Anubis and thought how he would give Anubis a lesson. Anubis was only silent in fear seeing Seo Joo-Heon's gaze. Seo Joo-Heon seemed to give Anubis a choice about how to teach him a lesson. Seo Joo-Heon smiled horribly while saying that he would cook Anubis in various ways. Seo Joo-Heon pulled out a sharp knife that made Anubis shudder in horror. Anubis also asked for forgiveness from Seo Joo-Heon because he only ran away so as not to be killed by the previous relic commander. Because relics with high levels like them and other dogs will be punished very severely when caught obeying humans, Anubis was happy when Seo Joo-Heon sounded like he understood him. But Seo Joo-Heon did not accept because Anubis said if he would lose to the relic commander. Anubis explained that the relic commander was the ruler in the relic world. Seo Joo-Heon mentioned that the sin committed by Anubis was to underestimate him who would lose to the relic commander. Seo Joo-Heon also brought up the revenge that Anubis would do to him. Seo Joo-Heon brought up the fugitive paper about him before, and with that Seo Joo-Heon beat up Anubis. After being satisfied, Yoo-Ji-ha was asked to fix it, but it was protested by Yoo-Ji-ha because he was busy with a lot of work. Meanwhile, in front of him, Set and Osiris were seen walking towards Seo Joo-Heon. Anubis had a hope, and he was moved when he saw his brother coming. Set looked sharply at Seo Joo-Heon, but shortly after that, the two dogs surrendered themselves to Seo Joo-Heon. But Seo Joo-Heon didn't want to trust them just like that. But Seo Joo-Heon changed his mind when he saw the cute behavior of the two dogs. They both asked Seo Joo-Heon to take them home and let them do what they like. Seo Joo-Heon agreed to their request, but on the condition that they both had to educate and supervise Anubis. Seo Joo-Heon even threatened if he would not give TV or buy fried chicken for them. After understanding what Seo Joo-Heon said, the two dogs scolded Anubis completely. Anubis couldn't understand why things had become like this, but Set and Osiris didn't seem to care as long as they could do what they liked. And since the problem with the dogs was over, Seo Joo-Heon intended to return to looting this tomb. But Seo was a little worried because they hadn't had time to rest until now. With that, Seo Joo-Heon was about to call someone, and Seo was surprised and sad when Seo Joo-Heon called Irene. Meanwhile, Irene was getting ready to go to Seo Joo-Heon. Now, Irene was worried about Seo Joo-Heon if she got hurt. It seemed that Seo was jealous and upset because Seo Joo-Heon called Irene, but before they could relax, an earthquake occurred. Seo Joo-Heon was shocked when he saw the notification window when he knew the tomb was expanding. Seo Joo-Heon blamed Anubis for this, but it seemed like Anubis didn't know anything. When he looked up, they saw the figure of the relic commander who stole their power. The dogs could only surrender when they knew that the relic commander had seen everything. Yoo-Ji-ha was very panicked now, but Seo Joo-Heon tried to calm him down, but it seemed that Yoo-Ji-ha was already panicked and Seo Joo-Heon was also still thinking of a way out. The tomb slowly began to grow, and a large tall building appeared there that trapped Seo Joo-Heon and his team. Seen the walls of the building which had some ancient writings, and also seen Seo Joo-Heon and his team lying in such a large room. Seo Joo-Heon was upset when he found out they were all trapped in a tomb. Seo Joo-Heon told the dogs to wake up his other friends, seeing the dogs licking the faces of the three of them. Yoo-Ji-ha, who was the first to wake up, looked fine, followed by Seo who had also awakened. Meanwhile, Louis was still pretending to be dead, which of course Seo Joo-Heon was aware of. Louis got up with great annoyance, after which they thought about how they would get out of this tomb after being trapped in it. Although they did intend to enter the tomb, but their preparations were not mature. The dogs agreed with Yoo-Ji-ha because they were also damaged and had to be repaired before starting the looting. Seo Joo-Heon asked if the condition was that bad, but it seemed that the condition was not that bad. Hearing that, Seo Joo-Heon asked the dogs to hold it and would fix it when they got out. Seo Joo-Heon mentioned the word fried chicken, which made Set tempted, but he quickly regained his pride and tried to get angry because Seo Joo-Heon bribed him with fried chicken. But not long after that, suddenly his personality changed to obedient. After everything had agreed, Seo Joo-Heon and his team went deeper into the tomb. As they went deeper, they heard two people talking. Seo realized it, and Seo Joo-Heon would now check it out. Seo Joo-Heon was sure that now they were not the only team that was consumed by the tomb. Seen CEO Kwon, who was angry at someone and told him to move. seen CEO Kwon and his team trying to find the Da Vinci relic contained in this tomb. Seo Joo-Heon sees CEO Kwon there, who intends to find the Da Vinci relic just like him. But of course, Seo Joo-Heon will never give a chance for CEO Kwon to get the relic. Who will succeed in getting the Da Vinci relic? And what will Seo Joo-Heon plan to stop CEO Kwon?